Hey guys, I just rewatched the video I made about EC, and please don't come for me. I was not trying to be mean. I was not trying to only say this or say that. I'm just giving my experience and how I used to enable people, and it wasn't good for them or me. That's all I'm saying. So please, don't hate anybody. Don't come for me, please. That was all I was saying. But back to that. I got to thinking about the whole enabling process. And, there's one thing, Dr. Phil, he really is right about something when he says the enabler needs to go to therapy too. And that's true, because I was just as bad as she was, because I was okay with doing and saying. And, okay, for example, I had a friend who was strung out really bad, okay? Strung out very bad on H. And he would call me for gas money, rides, rent money, food, smoke, whatever. He called me for it. He called me for 20, 50, whatever, money I could give him. And 9 times out of 10, I would go to him. And we never had a relationship like, couple type relationship. We were just always good friends. I think the world of this person. And he's been clean and sober now for, I think, 3 years. But I enabled him to the point to where he could call me at any time and I would go. He could call me with the story of he run out of gas, he was attacked, his rent was due, his kids were going to be starving, he didn't have food, he didn't have a place to stay, whatever it was. And I would go to him and I would always give him anywhere from $10 to $100 because I felt so bad for this person because we were like family. And finally, when I started therapy, my therapist made it clear to me, Lily, you are an enabler. You have to stop enabling. And I got my mask rolled up so you can hear me, but enabling is also an addiction, believe it or not. That was one of my biggest addictions is enabling. And I am one of the nicest people. I love being nice. I love giving to other people. I love seeing other people happy. I love making other people happy. And then when somebody is in bad shape, like addicted to something, they see me coming a mile away. They're like, oh, can I get $20? Then they take the $20 and they go do their thing with it. And in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, I just helped somebody else so they could get food tonight. Or so they could get diapers, milk, clothes, gas, whatever it is they need when they're getting their fix. So I had to go to therapy and I had to learn how to stop enabling. And I had to learn how to say no. And I'm going to tell you right now, for some of us, saying no is very hard. And I don't know if that's what Eugenia Cooney's family is going through, or if they just don't acknowledge it. I really don't know what the issue is with them. But what I do know is if that was my daughter, my friend, just like from my actual friend I spoke about before, I would be doing something. And I did enable my friend by telling her she looked good, but I also got her help too. And I just don't understand how Eugenia's family just allows it to go on. And they see her like this. They see her in the shape she's in. I don't understand. I don't know. If that was my daughter, I would be past the moon and back trying to get any kind of help at all. I would get her off the internet. We would just be going through whatever to help her. Off that for a minute, back to enabling. Enabling is very serious. A lot of people don't even know that they are enablers. There are a lot of enabling parents. A lot of parents who think their kids can't do no wrong. My son would never do that. My daughter would never do that. They would never do H. They would never, try this or try that. They would never rob a bank. They'd never, hit that lady or do this or do that. When in fact they're on camera doing that. And then when you show the parents the proof, there's always another excuse of why their children couldn't have done that. Or, like you have these moochers who lay up on their families and they never get a job, they never leave home, they never try to do anything, and their parents or grandparents are still working jobs to support them and their kids and great-grandkids. And it's just, a pesky fly. Ugh. I'm not going to kill it though because I don't like killing things. But that's enabling. And you create a lot of monsters by being an enabler. I have another story that I'm going to share about somebody very close to me. I enabled him to the point that he didn't even try to get a job because he knew every week he could depend on me. Every week. This person knew that as long as we were like that, I would support him no matter what. I would support him through it all. He wouldn't have to work. He wouldn't have to have nowhere to stay. He wouldn't have to find a car, nothing, because I would always do it. And I did it for like a good 4 or 5 years. I did that. And finally, one day, I started therapy when I lost my friend. And of course, months down the road, me and the therapist get into all these other things from my childhood and, adulthood, just blah, 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 all that stuff. And my phone goes off, and I'm like, well, I got to go take this friend some gas in a gas jug, and $20. And my therapist started asking questions. Luckily for me, my therapist did that, because I found out that day, my therapist said, how often do you do this for that person? Does that person, help you back? Do they have a job? All that stuff. And I was like, actually, no, he hasn't worked. He left high school. He's always stayed with his parents or with me. He's never, really done anything. And he was like, well, my therapist was like, well, the more you take care of him, the less he's going to try to do anything. And I was like, no, he's trying. And my therapist said, come on, are you enabling this person the way you were enabling your friend? And I really had to stop and think about it for a minute and say, wow, oh my gosh, I'm doing the same thing all over again with this person. I'm supporting this person financially and emotionally in every way that I can. But when I need him, he's never there. It's always an issue. If I even so much as need a text, he doesn't have time for me. If I need just him to talk to as a friend, he doesn't have time for me. And even when he does, it turns back around to being about him. And then my therapist was like, hey, tell him no one time. See what happens. Just try it out. When he calls and asks you for money or for gas, a ride, whatever it is, just tell him no. So that evening, when I left the therapist's office, the friend was texting me again, are you about here yet? Are you here yet? How far are you? How close are you? Did you bring the cash? Did you bring the gas in a jug? Because we run out of gas and all this stuff. And I said, I'm going to come pick you up. But we're going to have to call your mom to come get your vehicle or whose ever vehicle. Come to find, well, he didn't have a vehicle. So it was a girl that he was with. It was her vehicle. And they were out doing their thing. They were getting their fix. I can't say it on you. I don't want to say it on YouTube, but they were getting their fix. And I said, when I got there and I seen the situation, what was going on, I said, I'll give you a ride back to your mom's. I'm not giving you no cash. I'm done with it. That's when everything blew up. And he went off. And he was, you're not a good friend and you're not a good person and you never help me and you don't do this and you don't do that. And I said, hey, I'm the only one that ever jumps for you. I literally jump. Every time you say jump, I say how high. When you're out here at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning on the street, I'm the one that comes to you. Your own family doesn't even come to you. Please don't be mad at me for saying no this one time. Well, I gave in and I gave him the money. Well, 2 or 3 days later, he started texting again that he was out of food, out of electricity, out of power, and his baby needed this, needed that. So I go over there with the can of milk, the infant milk, like I know the baby drinks, and that's not good enough. They want cash. Him and his girlfriend want cash. And I say, I'm not giving you cash. Y'all get food stamps, so y'all should have food. How do y'all not have food? You get $900 a month. How you not have food? Well, we had to sell some of them to get this and get that. And I said, why? You should be putting food in your house, not selling them for drugs. He gets mad. Well, just bring me the cash. I'm like, I'm not going to get you the cash. You need to get a job. I have to work. Everybody else has to work. There's nothing physically wrong with you or her. Y'all need to get a job. Well, we can't put the baby in daycare. We can't do. Well, she can stay with the baby. You can stay with the baby. I know parents that stay with the baby and the other one works. Pay daycare, whatever, you got to do. There's all kinds of programs for daycare and services, too, that you can apply for. And if you already get the Medicaid and the food stamps, you're eligible for those benefits. He didn't want to do that. He wanted the cash. I said, okay, I'll go get the baby. I'll get y'all some food and all this stuff. So I left. He texts me, make sure you go by the ATM and get me $50. I'm going to need it. I promise you I won't bug you anymore. I said, no, I'm not getting $50. I don't have it right now. I just paid all my bills. I don't have it. Oh, man, you want to talk about freaking out and getting mad? He was livid. I need the money. You're not a good friend. He went right back into the whole thing of I'm not a good friend again. And that's what they do. That's what they do. And as an enabler, you have to learn how to not be offended and hurt by that. You have to learn how to not fall for it. You have to say, I know I am a good friend. I know I'm a good person. I know that I've been good to you. I know I'm doing the right thing, but I refuse. I refuse to support your addiction or your habit or whatever it is you're doing. I refuse to support that anymore. I'm not doing it. Call me a bad friend, call me a bad girlfriend, call me a bad boyfriend, call me a bad uncle, aunt, mom, dad, whatever you want to call me, but I will not support that anymore. I'll get you food if you need it, and if you can't appreciate that, I won't do that no more either. Well, when I told him that I wasn't going to support the habit anymore, and I knew what they were doing, he's, well, we're going to get help. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. Then he claims they went to a rehab, but they didn't. They didn't go anywhere. They were still there. And then he calls me about 5 days later. We need $100 ASAP. They're going to cut the lights off. Our phones are being cut off. I said, let me go over there and see what's going on. Of course, when I pull up, none of that's true. He's using somebody else's phone because he's pawned his phone off with a dealer. Okay, the lights have been off. The refrigerator has not been cold in a day or two. I look around at this stuff and I see, oh my gosh, I have been enabling an addict. I've been enabling someone to get high again. I can't do it. So I turn around, I get my bag, and I say, you know what? When y'all get straightened out, let me know, and I'll be here for you. If you want help, I'm here for you. If you want to go into a facility, I'm here for you. Whatever you need to get better, I'm here for you. But as long as you're doing what you're doing, I can't be here for that. I can't be triggered. I can't be around it. I'm not going to end up in trouble. I'm not going to end up getting hurt over the dealings that y'all are making. So when you're ready to get help, let me know. Well, a month goes by. A whole month goes by. He says, hey, I hadn't seen you in a while. Guess what? I've gotten a job. I've gotten clean. We're working on getting a car. We're getting our tax money back. I said, how are y'all getting tax money when y'all haven't worked all year? Y'all get food stamps and Medicaid that you've claimed all year to get food stamps and Medicaid that you don't have a job. So if you have told social services that you don't have a job to get food stamps and Medicaid, how are you filing taxes on a job you don't have? They go into the thing and they lie and say they've cleaned condos, done this, done that, and they use like notebook paper. Then they go to a tax place and file their children, so they get back a couple $1,000s. I said, you're gonna get caught doing that. They did not get caught doing that. That went on for several years before they actually got caught, and while getting benefits all year round. So this is how they were supporting their habits. Well, anyways, so they were going to get a car. They were clean. Well, I get over there, and he's like, I just need a couple $100 to get a deposit put down on a new place, because we have to get out of here. This place is bad. It's full of drugs, this and that. Excuse me, drugs is full of that. We have to get out of here and get our child to a better place. I said, what makes you think I have $200 to help you put a deposit down on somewhere? I'm struggling too. I'm working 2 jobs. I'm struggling with my family. I don't have $200. You're not a good friend. You've never helped me. I said, out of all the years that I have always helped you, I run to your side. And I thought about it when I said that. That's the problem. I've always run to your side. I've always run to your aid. I've always helped you. You've never helped me, which isn't the point, but still, I've enabled you. And that's when I finally put my foot down and I said, I will not enable you anymore. And I left. He called me over and over and over after that. But you know what? Every call and text was asking for something. It was never a, hey, how are you doing? Hey, how's life? It was always, what can I get from you? What can you do for me today? So I was done with that friendship. And last I heard, they were doing pretty bad. They still hadn't got help. Their child was taken from them. CPS has stepped in and taken the baby. And the girl left him. And they're both just not doing good. But as sad as it is, and as much as we don't want to walk away from people we love, when they refuse help, sometimes you have to cut them off to make them see, hey, this person is not playing. They're not going to have nothing to do with me if I don't go get help. They're not going to support me, give me a home, give me a vehicle, give me an environment to live in. They're not going to enable me if I don't go get help. And that's why I say you need to help this person get help. You cannot enable them. And being an enabler is worse, almost as worse. I would say worse, but I'm not going to say that. But I'd say being an enabler is almost as bad as being the person in the hot seat, the addict, with the disorder, whatever it is. Now, my situation, I am an enabler, but I was actually enabled at one time with my ED. And my enabler, who I used this person to tell me that, I used them to tell me that I looked good, better than what I did. Kind of like what I did with my friend. And then when I look in the mirror, I couldn't see it. I weighed 165 pounds. And I went from anywhere from 145 from 145 to 190, somewhere in there. And then all of a sudden I'd drop a lot of weight and then I gain it back and forth, back and forth. But I would use this friend to make myself feel better. And I would ask her, I'd be like, hey, how does this look? How does that look? And she would always say, it looks so good. It looks so good. And I would use her to make myself feel good. And of course I'd say it back to her because she looked good too. But I realized, and I apologized to her. And I said one day, you know what? I'm going to call her Allie. I said, you know what, Allie? I am very sorry. And she says, for what? And I said, because I have had you enabling me for about 2 years now. And she's like, what? I've never given you anything. I've never paid anything for you. I said, it's not always about giving or paying. It's not always about that. It's about how you've made me feel. And she says, I don't understand what you're talking about. I said, I have been using you to make myself feel better by your compliments. I live off of your compliments day to day. I wake up needing your compliments. I go to sleep needing your compliments. I don't know if y'all have ever heard that before, but it actually happens. You depend on somebody else to make you feel better. There are some people who depend on other people to feel worse. Just different ways to enable and be enabled. And when I started therapy, it opened my eyes up so much to this new realm of enabling, basically. I know I've said that word like a million times, but I'm trying to tell you, don't be an enabler. If you want to help somebody get help, help them get help. But don't pay for their fix. Don't support their issue, the bad part of it. Try to help them to get help. That's all I'm trying to say. I'll see you later.